I'm Michael.
I'm Sally.
This is Wrestle MSX.
And welcome to the Netflix era.
After a monologue from Triple H about the history of wrestling and a video of wrestlers from over the years, we find the game standing in the middle of the ring. He asks if we're ready, and I think we just about are. After the noise dies down, our first superstar of the new era steps out, The Rock. After talking shop, dropping a swear, mentioning Netflix about 1 million times, and thanking Cody Rhodes, who's in the crowd, and Roman Reigns, which completely breaks all storyline, we finally get on with what we all came here for, wrestling.
We begin with a tribal combat match between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa, Paul Heyman with Reigns. Side note, the referee had a different referee shirt on, the mat was different, and it looked like they spent some money on a new shiny announcer's desk. Reigns took it to Solo until Solo urinargied Reigns into the announcer's table and then hit him with a monitor. No rules in a tribal combat match, remember. Reigns then ate the ring steps as Sikoa started to control the match, got Reigns back in the ring and then proceeded to attack Reigns with a chair. Solo declared his love for Reigns and then set up for a hip attack with the chair around Reigns' neck. Reigns dodged the attack and then used the chair to attack Solo.
Sikoa then low-blowed Reigns and hit him with a spinning Solo onto another chair that had been left in the ring. Solo went for the pin and got a 2-count cover. Solo decided to go for a table, but Reigns caught him with a drive-by. Reigns finished Solo's job by setting the table up in the ring, but as he went over to Solo, Solo surprised him with a kendo stick to the head. Solo re-entered the ring using the stick to good effect, pushing it down onto Roman's face in the corner. Reigns, though, overpowered Solo and put him through the table with a last ride. As Reigns covered Sikoa for the pin, the ref counted to 2 but didn't get to 3 as Tama Tonga pulled the ref out the ring.
Jacob Fatu then entered the ring, hitting Reigns with an Impaler DDT and then moonsault. Solo then Samoan spiked Reigns and went for the cover. He only got a 2 after all of that. Solo then Samoan spiked the ref, which was counterintuitive because who's going to count now, Solo? Sami Zayn then ran out with Jimmy, with the two being met on the rampway by Fatu and Tama. The faces beat the heels, entered the ring and beat on Solo. Reigns then speared Solo and covered him for a 10 count. All to no avail as there was no ref. When eventually a ref did enter the ring, he only managed a 2 count as Solo kicked out. Sami and Jimmy then exit the ring, diving at Tama and Jacob, leaving Reigns alone to spear Solo. Only he doesn't, as Kevin Owens enters the ring, hitting Reigns with a stunner.
Solo goes for the cover, but Reigns incredibly kicks out on 2. Owens goes back to attacking Reigns and is about to set Roman up for a package piledriver when Cody Rhodes runs out. He enters the ring, seemingly saving Reigns, which will only add more fuel to Owens' fire, and the two begin to fight. Rhodes gets a Cody cutter on Owens, with the two men then fighting off through the crowd. Back in the ring, we see a missed Superman punch, missed Samoan spike, and then a connected spear by Reigns. Reigns sets up for one more spear, hits it and covers Solo for the 1-2-3. Roman Reigns wins the tribal combat match and is about to be presented with a Ulafala by Paul Heyman when The Rock heads back out. The Rock, now back in his final boss mode, takes the Ulafala from Heyman and places it around Roman's neck. The two stare at one another and share a handshake as The Rock then steps back, allowing Reigns to take the adulation from the crowd. Cannot fault this start. Fantastic. Love the run-ins.
Yeah, really good.
Very, very good start.
Enjoyed
the bar has been set.
Yes, definitely. We hear from the New Day next, who kind of get booed out the building. They throw a little shade on Kendrick Lamar, but aside from that, I'm not really sure what this segment was about.
No, don't. We then see this image, so I'm going to say Penta's on his way.
Yeah. We then learn that the Royal Rumble in 2026 will be held in Riyadh.
Out next, John Cena. He thanks Netflix, I don't know why, and Raw before running through his rise of becoming a professional wrestler. He says he doesn't see himself becoming a 17-time champion, and it'd take a miracle for that to happen. He says he'd have to win Money in the Bank or the Elimination Chamber before stumbling across the idea of entering the Royal Rumble and winning that, which he says he will do. No, you won't. You'll be in it, but you ain't winning it.
You never know.
Sorry, John.
Next, we see a vignette from Logan Paul, who says he's dedicating his life to this, saying he's 100% a WWE superstar, and this is the beginning of the era of Logan Paul. Please, God, no.
I did notice that a couple of times Michael Cole's feed was cut as he was generally talking. It was mainly between matches, and it seemed as if he was about to mention maybe a company or whatever, but it was odd because he'd start talking, raise a point, and then would never finish.
Yeah, it was a bit
So
strange.
I think he was cut, but anyway.
Yeah. More wrestling now as Liv Morgan defends her Women's World Championship against Rhea Ripley. Liv accompanied by Dominic Mysterio and Raquel Rodriguez. Straight to the outside here as Liv's sent out, followed by a cannonball from Rhea off the apron to Rodriguez, with Morgan then powerbombed into the announcer's table. Rhea takes Morgan back into the ring and covers her for 1. The two then end up on the apron with Morgan hitting Rhea with a codebreaker, then a Hurricane Rana. Liv whips Ripley into the crowd barriers and then back into the ring, covering her, but again only for 1.
Morgan gets a 2 off a bulldog from the middle rope and is generally in control, which surprised me a lot, to be fair. Rhea, though, rallies with quick attacks and a released German suplex before setting up for the Riptide. Morgan counters into a backstabber before sending Rhea into the turnbuckle, executing a tornado DDT and then covering her for 2. Rhea headbutts Morgan and manages a Riptide. Morgan kicks out on 2. Dom then slides the title into the ring. While the ref's getting rid of that, Raquel Rodriguez gets on the apron and slides a chair into the ring. Rhea goes for Raquel, knocks her off the apron and then turns into an oblivion by Morgan, who was following her up. Rhea's oblivioned into the chair, covered, and kicks out on 2.
We then see the 3 amigos from Liv and a frog splash. Morgan covers, Rhea kicks out on 2. Morgan decides to finish things off by going for another oblivion, but Rhea intercepts by throwing Morgan onto the mat. Ripley then riptides Morgan, not once, but twice, and then goes for the cover. This time she gets it and the ref slaps the mat 3 times and Rhea Ripley becomes the new Women's World Champion. After the match, Dom enters the ring and offers Rhea a hug. She kisses the title, puts it down, opens her arms, and then kicks Dom in the you-know-where and riptides him. As Rhea heads up the rampway, we hear a familiar noise, the bell of the Undertaker. The lights go out, come back on, and the American Badass rides out. The Undertaker does a lap of the ring, heads back up the rampway, and then high-fives Rhea.
Not to Limp Bizkit, though.
No.
Unfortunately. Backstage, we see Adam Pearce speaking with Bayley before Chad Gable asks Pearce to send him the best luchador on the planet. Well, Rey Mysterio's in the audience.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it'll be Gable versus Penta next week.
You heard it here.
No spoilers here.
We then hear from The Miz, who mocks John Cena, before Karrion Kross interrupts him. Kross says we've got a match against the Wyatt Six. Miz says he's out, but Kross tricks him into agreeing him to face them.
Not really bothered about them, to be fair. Anyway, next we see Travis Scott smoking something up in the crowd when he's joined by Jey Uso. The two head to the ring and yeet as Jey awaits his opponent, Drew McIntyre. Now, I know we're on Netflix and we're trying to be laissez-faire and rule-breaking, but I'm not so sure we needed to see Scott smoking anything, in my opinion. So anyway, on with the match. As McIntyre closes in on the ring, Jey dives out at him twice, but Drew catches him on the second attempt, throwing him down to the ground. We finally get in the ring where Drew delivers chops and kicks to Jey. Drew then lands multiple mounted punches in the corner before Jey hits Drew with a sit-down powerbomb.
Jey then delivers punches and kicks to Drew before hip attacking him in the corner and landing a crossbody from the top rope. The resulting cover gets Jey a 2. A super kick stops a Claymore, with Jey covering for 2, with Jey then looking for an Uso splash, but Drew gets his knees up. A spinebuster and jackknife pin then gets Drew a 2 count, which he then follows up with a sit-down powerbomb pin for yet another 2. The two then trade blows in the middle of the ring, with Drew getting the Future Shock DDT on Jey and then getting a 2 count cover.
McIntyre heads off for the Claymore again, but Jey catches him with a spear and covers for 2. The crowd at this point, in my opinion, rather quiet as Jey super kicks Drew 3 times, goes for a spear but gets caught by a Claymore and covered by Drew for 2. Drew sets up for one more Claymore as he awaits Jey to get up off the canvas. As Jey does get up though, Drew runs at him and launches his attack. Jey drops back down to the mat. Drew misses, allowing Jey to hook Drew's arms and cover him for a crucifix style pin and get the victory. Jey kind of stealing the win. We called 3 matches in one of our previous videos, didn't we? I think the back end of SmackDown. And we kind of did a quick prediction.
Yeah.
And so far we're 0 for 3. So, yeah.
We have a vignette from Gunther next, who says he's the light at the end of the tunnel for his challengers, where their dreams and hopes and ambitions go to die, or words to that effect.
I thought he might have made an appearance with him, being a
I
champion.
know, yeah.
As we're about to hear from Gabriel Iglesias, he's interrupted by New Day, who are then interrupted by Alpha Academy. Gabriel then starts a New Day sucks chant as we head over to Paul Heyman talking with Roman Reigns. Heyman says Reigns needs a platform from which the whole world can acknowledge him, asking him when he can book it, which I thought was a rather odd line.
Yeah.
Reigns replies January the 27th, which is a Monday, with the two of them then walking through a door. But as the door closes, we see a label that says 2K25.
We hear from Rhea Ripley next, being interviewed by Jackie Redmond. Rhea says Liv took everything, but Ripley proved once again why Mummy is always on top. Damian Priest, also there, says the beef with Finn Balor comes to an end next week when they have a street fight.
Good. I haven't seen one of them for, a long time. Let's hope it doesn't just stay around the ring and goes back fully backstage, get on the streets like they used to. A real blast from the past next as Hulk Hogan heads out with Jimmy Hart. Hogan talks about tag teams and who he's tagged with in the past and how WWE teaming up with Netflix is the best tag team ever, before tearing his shirt off and revealing a Netflix RAW shirt. However, throughout this whole segment, Hogan was booed, which made the whole promo feel very, very awkward.
Yeah.
I think they misjudged that one.
They did, yeah. Last match of the night, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. And time is clearly of no importance as we have about 10 minutes of Seth's music. The two go at it, with Seth diving out the ring at Punk, with the two then fighting in the crowd and back into the ring. Seth misses a stomp and then escapes a GTS. We then end up on the top rope where we see Punk pulling off a swinging neckbreaker on Seth.
We end up back outside the ring and then back in again, with Punk chopping at Seth and kicking his knee. We kind of have equal amounts of attacking time from each man, with no one really taking advantage. That is until Punk strings together 2 running knees, 2 clothesline and a swinging neckbreaker. Seth rolls out the ring, Punk follows over the top rope.
Back in the ring, Punk hits a crossbody. Rollins rolls through, standing up while holding Punk, and hits him with his own finishing move, the GTS. Punk rolls out the ring, Seth tosses him back in, but when Rollins gets back in, Punk stomps him and then gets a 2 count. Punk looks for another GTS, but Seth counters into his own GTS, which he lands, covers Punk and gets a 2, just. Seth misses a stomp with Punk rolling out the ring. Seth follows and delivers a pedigree on the announcer's desk. Seth goes back in the ring, bringing Punk with him, hits another pedigree, covers Punk and doesn't win as Punk kicks out on 2.
The two men then trade slaps in the middle of the ring on their knees. They get to their feet and carry on. Punk goes for a running knee on Rollins in the corner, but Seth catches him, hits him with a buckle bomb and then stomps him. Seth covers Punk, but it's too close to the edge as Punk breaks the count by placing his leg on the rope. The fans chant "This is awesome" as Seth puts Punk on the top turnbuckle, hits a superplex and then goes for the Falcon Arrow. Punk counters it into a GTS and then drops to his knees. Rollins, dazed from the GTS, ricochets off the rope and onto the kneeling Punk's shoulders. Punk rises, hits one more GTS and then covers Seth for the 1-2-3. All in all, not a bad match.
Oh yeah,
I did enjoy it. I mean, as I say, well, we called this one wrong as well as the others.
Yeah.
I mean, why they let all the faces win, I have no idea. But where do these storylines go now? Morgan's just going to leave Ripley alone, is she? That's
very
it.
much doubt it.
Drew's revenge mission is over.
No, that can easily be carried on.
Bloodline 2.0 are now going to bow down to Roman. That's it, that's what I mean.
I know, yeah.
And Seth's just going to walk away from Punk. I do not think so.
Any comments or views you'd like to share, then please feel free to leave them in the comment section below.
If you'd like to, give us a subscribe. Thank you for watching.
And we'll see you Saturday for SmackDown.